Hello everyone, welcome to Karnataka Exams. This is continuation of Economic Survey series and today we'll see two chapters. One is State Income and Prices and the second one is Fiscal Development and State Finances. As it is related to income, prices and finances, there will be lot of data which are facts. So there will be no explanation as much. There are some policy announcements which were made in the budget this year. I will tell about the policy announcements in the last. Till then, I'll be telling about the facts and I'll be explaining when and where necessary. Let us start with the first of those two, state income and prices. India, as you know, has 29 states and 7 union territories. Uttar Pradesh or UP ranks first in terms of population, followed by Maharashtra in the second place. Urban population in India in 2017 is 32.8%. Karnataka is considered to be one of the developed states in India. 38% of Karnataka stays in urban areas. That is more than that of national average. The national average is 32.8%, whereas that of Karnataka is 38%. So the urban population staying in Karnataka is more than that of the national average. Okay, that is the statement which you have to remember. Karnataka stands ninth place in terms of population and 4.68% increase in urbanization. That is, there has been increase of 4.68% in urban population compared to last year. Let us start with some statistics. That is, first one, gross state domestic product or GSDP. What is GSDP? GSDP is volume of all the goods and services which are produced in the boundary of the state in a financial year. In the boundary of the state, whatever the goods and services are produced in a financial year, that is called as GSDP. Okay, that is gross state domestic product. The Karnataka's GSDP is 10.3% at current prices. This is important. Karnataka's GSDP is how much? It is 10.3% at current prices. Karnataka state in all India's GDP contributes to 7.5%. Out of all the states' contribution to the GDP in India, 7.5% was contributed by Karnataka. So we'll see the sectors which have been contributing in comparison with last year. Contribution of agriculture and allied activities, industry sector and service sector. We'll see all these three. Okay, agriculture and allied activities contributed to 11.77% in 2015 and 2016, whereas 11.68% in 2016. So there was decrease. And industry sector 24.70% in 15-16 and 23.68%. There was also decrease in industry sector, and the contribution of service sector was 63.53% in 15-16, whereas 64.64% in 16-17. So service sector saw the positive growth, and agriculture sector and industry sector saw lesser growth compared to 2015 and 16. Last we saw GSDP, that is gross state domestic product. Now we'll see NSDP. What is NSDP? Net state domestic product. It is similar to GSDP, but in GSDP depreciations or wear and tear is added, whereas in NSDP the depreciations and wear and tear is subtracted. So NSDP is the volume of all the goods and services produced within the boundary of the state in a financial year. This is same for GSDP, right? It is also all the goods and services produced within the boundary of the state in a financial year. But NSDP is calculated after deducting the wear and tear or depreciation. So what is this depreciation? I'll give you an example for that. For example, you bought a car worth 3 lakh this year. Next year, if you want to sell that, you won't be selling it for 3 lakhs because you have driven it for 1 year already, and there has been some wear and tear, that is, you have spent on services and the tires have been weared out, etc. So if you have to sell it next year, say you'll get a 2 lakh or 2.5 lakh. So there has been depreciation of 1 lakh. That is called as depreciation or wear and tear. This was just an example for that. So Karnataka's GSDP, as we saw, was 10.3%, right? So Karnataka's NSDP is 9.2%. So NSDP is lesser than that of GSDP because depreciation is deducted. Depreciation or wear and tear is deducted. All India per capita income for 2016 and 2017. This is all India per capita income was 103818. Karnataka's per capita income is higher by 54%. Okay, compared to 15 and 16, this year it was higher by 54%. Lastly, sir, the GSDP was 10.3% and whereas NSDP was 9.2%. Now we will see district-wise contribution to the GSDP, like which district has contributed highest and which district has contributed lowest. The per capita income of many of the North Karnataka district is not even closer to the state's average. And when it comes to district-wise contribution, Karnataka urban was the highest contributor, whereas Yadgir in Hyderabad Karnataka region was the lowest contributor. So Karnataka urban is the highest contributor, Yadgir is the lowest contributor. These estimates are according to 2015 and 2016 budget. Okay, this estimates. So according to this estimate, Karnataka urban contributed highest, whereas Yadgir stands in the last. And the second highest contributor was Dakshina Kannada, and the third highest was Belagavi. But in 2017, 16 and 17, the actual data was Bangalore urban contributed the highest, and the second highest was Dakshina Kannada, whereas third was Udupi. The latest data says the third highest contributor was Udupi, whereas last year the third highest contributor was Belagavi, and Yadgir still stands at the last place. Government has spent around 14143 amount for the development of backward districts, but still most of the districts in North Karnataka have remained backward. There was a committee which was set up. It was headed by D.M. Nanjundappa. D.M. Nanjundappa headed a committee was set up and they identified 114 taluk as backward taluks in Karnataka. So we'll revise this again. The highest contributor was Karnataka urban and the lowest was Yadgir, and this year the third highest contributor was Udupi, whereas last year it was Belagavi. So those were the important statistics which you have to remember with respect to the chapter state income and prices. We will start with the fiscal development and state finances. Fiscal development and state finances. I have written a few statements. Please read them carefully. Okay, I'll be explaining each of them. Karnataka has a revenue surplus. Now what is revenue surplus? That is, revenue earned is higher than that of the expenditure. That is, we are earning more than we are spending. That is, Karnataka has been revenue surplus. And this revenue surplus is due to the growth of tax revenue. There are two types of tax revenue receipts. There are two types of revenue receipts. One is tax revenue and the other one is non-tax revenue. Tax revenue are ones which are like direct tax or indirect taxes. Non-tax revenues, they are not generated by taxing public. Non-tax revenue are something like interest which we get on the loans which we have given or something like that. They are the non-tax revenue. Okay, non-tax revenue remains at lower levels. That is, the contribution of non-tax revenue to the state has remained low. Next is tax to GDP ratio. Tax to GDP ratio is a ratio of tax collected to compare in comparison with GSDP. The tax to GSDP ratio has been declined in comparison with last year in 2016 and 2017. And then there are two types of expenditure. One is capital expenditure and the other one is revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure of Karnataka is higher than that of revenue expenditure. Now what is capital expenditure and what is revenue expenditure? Capital expenditure is something related to fixed assets and revenue expenditure is something related to ongoing assets, that is the assets which are already there. Capital expenditure is the money which is spent to buy, maintain or improve fixed assets, whereas the revenue expenditure is to meet the ongoing operational costs, that is revenue expenditure. And in the expenditure, education sector gets the largest share. In the expenditure, education sector got the largest share. There has been gradual increase in the plan expenditure. The fiscal deficit of the state is under 3%, that is 2.12%. The fiscal deficit of Karnataka is 2.12%. 13th Finance Commission prescribed the liabilities to be under 25% and the total liabilities of Karnataka is 16%. That is well within the limit of 25% which is prescribed by 13th Finance Commission. The next one is state has a large amount of committed expenditure locked up. Now we will see what is tax revenue and what is non-tax revenue. The income that is generated by government through taxation is a tax revenue. The taxes which are not generated by taxing people is non-tax revenue. So it is which is generated by taxing people is tax revenue, and which is generated by not taxing people is non-tax revenue. The examples for tax revenue is sales tax or VAT. The sales tax or VAT is the main source of tax revenue for Karnataka, and the Karnataka has a revenue surplus. That is, the revenue is more than the expenditure. And coming to non-tax revenue, they are the taxes which are not generated by taxing people. For example, receipts from social, economic, and general services, interests, dividends, they are the examples for non-tax revenues. Non-tax revenue has been continuously decreasing over year. So whatever revenue surplus we have, the surplus is due to tax revenue and not due to non-tax revenue. The non-tax revenue has been continuously decreasing only over years, whereas the taxation is increasing over the years. That is why we are having a revenue surplus. In fact, Karnataka has one of the lowest non-tax revenues to GSTP ratios in India. Has one of the lowest non-tax revenues to GSTP ratios in India. In Karnataka, the capital receipts increased compared to 2015 and 2016 levels. And what are the capital receipts? Like loan recoveries, open market loans, loans taken from Government of India, etc. are the capital receipts of the government. So the capital receipts increased, that is the loan taken by Karnataka government or the loan recoveries, etc. has increased in Karnataka compared to 2015-2016 levels. Next is committed expenditure. Committed expenditure is in the sense that is the government is committed to that. They can't deny that. For example, salaries they are committed, pensions, interest, subsidies. That is, it is compulsory for them to be given. That is committed expenditure. Karnataka has large amount of expenditure locked under committed expenditure. The fiscal deficit of Karnataka, as I said earlier, is 2.12%. So the GSDP is 10.3%. The fiscal deficit is 2.12% and the NSDP, net state domestic product, is 9.2%. These three are important data. At last we will see some policy announcements which were made in the budget this year. One was Nirmaya and the second was Yashaswini. The Nirmaya and Yashaswini, you have to remember that both are health related scheme, whereas Nirmaya is for children and Yashaswini is for rural households. Nirmaya is for children who are suffering from autism, mental retardation, and multiple disabilities. It is for those. Nirmaya scheme is for children, and it is for children who are suffering from these diseases. Yashaswini is also a health scheme. It is for rural households, and now it is extended to urban areas also. Next is Asha Kiran. Asha Kiran is related to physically challenged persons. Akshara Ganita Kids is, as the name says, it is related to math for kids, and Jnana Kendras is libraries. Sneha Shivira is a training program. So Asha Kirana is for physically challenged persons. What is it? Cooperative societies will be set up for physically challenged persons. Then Akshara Ganita. Akshara Ganita Kids, that is to teach math in a simple way. So that teaching math will be simple for 4th and 5th standard kids. Next one is Jnana Kendras. This is for Hyderabad Karnataka region, and 250 Grama Panchayats will have library buildings. And the last one is Sneha Shivira. For all the children who are suffering from malnutrition, this is the training which will be conducted for 12 days. In this training, the parents or guardians will be taught how to cook the nourished food. How to cook the nourished food will be taught. So it is a training program, that is Sneha Shivira. That's all with respect to these two chapters. Please like the video if you have understood something. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. Thank you. I'll see you people in the next video. And the notes is available in the description given below, or you can visit the website for that too. Thank you.